Today I fucked up by falling asleep under my bed. This didn't happen today, but quite recently anyways. I was at summer camp, and I felt a bit ill, so I told my friends that I'd stay inside for a while and rest some more. They know that I am chronically ill and, in addition to that, have extremely low blood pressure and am therefore often dizzy, so they told the camp counselors that I wouldn't be coming to the morning activities. It was a really warm day, and I was feeling quite tired, so I went to lie down in the coolest part of the room, under the bed. We had a nice laminate floor that was nice and cold to the touch. Now comes into play an important detail. Each room had 3 beds, all on different walls. However, in our room, 2 of the beds had been pushed together so that they were right next to each other. My bed was the one against the wall, and my friend's bed was in front of it. This, in addition to the fact that my roommate stored clothes under her bed, meant that you couldn't see me when I was under the bed. I fell asleep. Sometime in the afternoon, my roommates came back in, expecting to see me. They look around in our room and check the main building. I am nowhere to be found. They're a bit worried at this point, so they tell the counselors, and the search begins. After rechecking our room and all of the common areas, they try searching for me outdoors. The camp buildings are located at the edge of a large forest, so there was the possibility that I could have gone for a walk and got lost. There was also a large lake, so they also considered the possibility that I had gone swimming and drowned. Apparently the counselors looked for me for over an hour and even considered the possibility of someone having kidnapped me. They were about to call my parents and then the police to report me as a missing person when one of the other kids suggested, "What about under the bed?" They laugh it off, but decide to check again just in case. One of my roommates looks down, sees my arm and screams. I wake up and everyone is relieved. I was pretty embarrassed at the time, but it makes for a pretty good story. For the rest of the camp, I got a lot of jokes and comments about remembering to sleep on top of the bed next time. Too long didn't read. I fell asleep under my bed at camp, and the counselors almost called the police because they couldn't find me. I did the same thing a long time ago at a summer camp. I was just young and decided to go under the bed for some reason, and it was comfy, and I guess I was tired because of camp activities like swimming or something. I don't remember specifically, and drifted asleep. I woke up to counselors shouting for me. I think I missed lunch or some afternoon event and they noticed I wasn't there, and the counselors went to find me. None of the other campers knew about it, or at least I didn't get teased about it, as far as I remember. It was a relatively remote area with forests surrounding it, so you can imagine how worried the counselors would have been when someone is missing. Funny how we have such a similar story. When I was in the Marines and stayed in the barracks, I used to sleep under my bed too. It was easier than making and remaking the bed every day to prevent our mattresses from being tossed. I had my bed starched and ironed so flat and perfectly folded that if you touched it felt like stone. I probably have photos of it somewhere. I was stupidly proud of it. Anyway, one day I guess I slept in and my roommate assumed I'd already left already. I got a couple hours extra winks but woke up to the sound of one of my sergeants shouting about how if this motherfucker is where he thinks I am, he'll skin me alive. So I'm under my bed, nowhere to move or hide, and I just hear boots walk up to my bed. So there I am in my underwear passing myself. And the devil's face himself peeks under, glaring at me with a grin that's all too pleased with himself, and says, "Hey motherfucker." Then he mattress is ripped from my bed and thrown across the room by a group of Marines, who then proceed to dismantle the bed and chuck the pieces out of nearby window, all while I'm terrified laying on the ground in shock and disbelief. Long story short, I had to look for each piece of the bed, reassemble it, and got extra duty. Still one of the craziest memories I have from the Marines. There needs to be a protocol for this at all summer camps. Kid to camp counselor: "Yo, we can't find so and so." Counselor to kid: "Do you check under their bed?" Probably would save a lot of time. Once I was cat sitting for a friend in an apartment, in a building I worked in the office of. Mid-morning, I went back up to get something and noticed the cat wasn't there. Panic ensues. I search everywhere, get 2 separate co-workers to come in and search everywhere, even stupid places like opening the oven door, and we lifted the bed and couch right up to look under. Went up every floor searching the landing, scrolled through hours of security footage to see if I could see him run out the building, searched the road just in case he jumped out the window and survived. Resigned myself to telling her I'd lost her cat. Went back up a couple hours later, noticed his food had all been eaten. Damn cat reappears. Told her about it, and she showed me a hole in the base of the bed he crawls into to sleep literally inside the bed base. We picked the whole bed up, tilted it and looked under, and the little shit never made a peep. Damn cat. I was so distraught thinking I'd lost him. She should have warned me. I've gone to / worked at a summer camp the past 10 years. One year I was a counselor. Some kids told me they were going to go catch some lizards. I say okay, it's all chill, and they go somewhere near the bunk to do that. I get tired and take a nap in the bunk. Hour or so later wake up and people are in a panic, don't know where the kids are. I say they went to go catch lizards. Then people go and check the spot where lizards usually are and right by where the kids said they would be. The kids were there, looking for lizards. No one bothered waking me up even though they were my campers and I could have helped looked, or even just said where they probably were. Camp went into shutdown mode and it was almost a huge deal. Literally could have been solved by waking me, one of their counselors and someone who should know if they are missing, up from a nap. Today I fucked up by becoming the local panty sniffer. So this happened about an hour ago now. For context, I live in a Welsh town that is small enough that when you go to the shops, it's almost guaranteed you will bump into a few people you know. The washing machine at my place has been sounding like a jackhammer for the last few days, and now it is spitting out all of our washing with the most awful smell and absolutely dripping with filthy water. We're getting it looked at, but for now, I'm going to the laundrette, the location of the fuck up. So today, my girlfriend had work, so she said do as much as you can today, but make sure you get a lot of essentials like socks, underwear, work clothes done, because I've got a sore shoulder at the moment and can't carry a shitload of this soaking wet, rancid, heavy washing. I oblige and fill a large bag and my backpack with the gross washing and some stuff that hadn't been subjected to the filthy ing machine yet. Most of this untouched stuff was her underwear like she wanted. I take it over to the laundrette, which is about a 3-minute walk from our place, and place it on a wash, safe in the knowledge that this machine will actually do its job. I go to grab a milkshake, just generally wait around listening to music with my headphones until it's done. Now, the fuck up begins. I'm there gently head bopping to some arcane roots as I open the machine door and wait, is that the smell? Oh god, has this just made all the clothes smell gross? I think as I get a strange little whiff. Horrified, I take a handful of clothes and just start sticking my face right in them, trying to determine if there is a scent of swamp water underneath the fabric softener, and finding nothing. I must have spent a good minute or so doing this because a new song came on which snapped me out of my rampant sniffing. I realize I must have imagined the smell and turned towards the dryers. Stood by the dryers is a man, around my age, staring at me like he can't quite comprehend what he's just seen. I do the standard half smile, eye widening look that men around here give each other, and he gives me this awkward toothy smile as he hurries to throw his clothes in the dryer and leaves, frantically texting and looking back at me. I laugh and think, haha, yeah, I must have looked weird sniffing my laundry like that as I throw it into the dryer. It hits me. The clothes in my hand were literally all women's panties. This guy just caught me sniffing the absolute fuck out of a massive handful of women's panties, sniffing like my life depended on it, and he had no way of knowing it was the laundry that I had brought or why I would be sniffing it. I always wear very similar clothes as well, so I'm easily recognizable from a distance. Too long didn't read, I got caught sniffing my girlfriend's panties in the laundrette while checking to see if they'd been properly cleaned. The man who saw me is likely telling his friends and family as I write this. I need a new identity. Oh. Ha 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 ha. Oh man, that's a hilarious FU. I hope the reputation doesn't stick. Smile. Finally someone who gets me. Username checks out. But how is he supposed to explain the fact that you only smell freshly washed knickers? It's almost weirder that way, but with less perversion. Yeah, he probably just saw me sniffing them and the logic of it didn't go through his mind. This has been a rare laugh out loud moment. Thank you. Today I fucked up by handling my phone to mom, dad called, and I forgot about the porn playing on the background. So I was watching this porn from my phone and masturbating in my room. My dad suddenly calls me and asks me to give the phone to my mom because he can't reach her. I totally forgot about the porn in the background. I went and give my phone to mom and they started talking. They usually talk for a long time, so I went back to my room. When I thought the call would be over and I went to collect my phone, I saw my mom staring at the screen with a baffled face. I suddenly realized what I watched before the call. I rushed and snatched my phone while my mom looks strangely at me. I was so embarrassed that I immediately ran back to my room. My mom's friends were there too, so I don't know if they know about it or not. My mom don't talk about it later on, but I always looked away awkwardly whenever I see her for about a week. Definitely not a fun experience. TL, doctor, caught watching porn because I gave my phone to my mom while the porn was still on the background. So stupid of me. I feel your pain, brother. Why? Did you break your arms first? Same situation 2 years ago. I was watching porn on my computer and no one at home. Suddenly my dad opened the door of my room. I don't know how he came back. The PC was in front of his view. He stared at me angrily and closed the door. He doesn't talk about it later, but it's really embarrassing. Are you winning, son? Mum. What the hell did you press on my phone to randomly get that filth playing? So, what weird shit were you watching? It's actually hentai, but I just write it as porn to not get mocked even further, lol. Pro tip for Android: when handing phone over to others to attend call, press the power button before or after taking the call. This locks the phone, but the dialer keeps running in the foreground. After the call is over, the app closes and exits to lock screen. Thus the video stays paused and screen locked, unless you've been watching a video on some special app that plays audio in the background.